Let's be real. Printing shirts? Well, it's kind of the easy part. Getting sales is what makes or breaks your business. Hey friends, Dave here with Stahls, and whether you're running a side hustle out of your basement, maybe launching your own startup brand, or running a busy print shop, growing your sales is probably the #1 thing on your mind. So today, we're going to be chatting about some real, proven strategies that you could use to get more work into your shop. Now, these aren't going to be the vague tips or theories, no. These are actionable plays decorators are running right now to land more orders, reactivate past customers, and turn small jobs into big business. Now, you will grow your sales following the advice in this video. All you have to do is put in the work. Now, by the end of this video, you're going to have actionable strategies to start making a difference in your sales by the end of this week. So how does that sound? Are you ready? Let's dive in. Now let's start off with the easiest win, your inbound leads. So think about it. Someone finds your shop online, maybe through Google or social media. They click your website because, well, they're interested and they need some printed apparel. But if your contact form there is confusing or too long, or maybe doesn't have any structure at all, most of them are going to bail and never contact you, and you're never going to hear from them. Now, this is a mistake that a lot of shops make, is having just one generic contact us form. The form ends up treating everybody the same, even though not all customers coming to you are the same. So here's what actually works best from what I've heard from real decorators, is to create 2 different forms on your website, especially if you're selling a lot through your website. Now, one form is for the customer who knows exactly what they want. Maybe they're a softball coach looking for 50 shirts with their logo they already have in vector format. The form should be quick and painless and get all the information needed: name, email, quantity, apparel style, colors needed, the deadline that they need them by, and then maybe even, if you have the capabilities, have an option to upload the artwork. And that's it, right? Off to the races. Now, the second form is for customers who don't know exactly what they need, and it makes them feel supported. Now, they need guidance. So instead of overwhelming them with all of those detailed fields we just covered, give them a simple entry point. Just a box that says, tell us what you're trying to do. And from there, you could reach out personally, ask questions, and guide them to the right solution. Now, it does seem kind of simple, but separating these 2 paths keeps you from losing customers who are either, well, too overwhelmed or too impatient. And here's the other big piece of the puzzle here. When a lead does come in, a lot of cases, it's best to pick up the phone. A real conversation is always going to outsell an email thread when you go through, right? You could ask about their event date, what kind of vibe they're going for, and what success looks like for this project for them. It shows that you care about helping them, not just taking on an order, which builds trust, builds your services up, and it's all about adding value in your services that really starts to erode a lot of that "I just want the lowest price" conversations that I hear so many decorators deal with. Next up, samples, because, well, samples sell. Now, all too often, decorators wait for a client to reach out before they ever show off what they could do. But the decorators who are growing, they're getting proactive and putting their product directly in people's hands. And people in many cases are their exact target customer, the ones that they want to work with. This is how they do it. It's a super simple play. You put together small sample kits. Now, it could be a printed tee, a hat, maybe even a little bundle of items that shows off what you could do, plus a 1 sheet that explains your services and turnaround times and has your contact information on it. Maybe even a little sample online store if it's right for this specific customer. Or better yet, their own logo printed on items you think that they will love. All made easy with, say, DTF transfers like Ultracolor Max these days, right? But here's the magic line you'll use when either you call them up or you're gonna send that direct message. Say, hey, I'll be in the area tomorrow. Do you have 2 minutes if I stop by and drop off a little gift for you guys? Almost every single person is going to say yes. Because, well, who doesn't want a free gift, right? And when you show up, actually keep it to 2 minutes. Hand them the kit, thank them for their time, and leave. You're not trying to close a deal on the spot here. You're just planting the seed. But here's the kicker. When people physically hold and engage with a product with their own logo on it, it becomes real. They start imagining their team wearing it, or maybe they put on that hat and wear it around the office, and the employees start commenting on it. That's what gets orders moving. You want an extra trick here too? Include a surprise sample in every order that you deliver. Those customers love this little unexpected delight. If they ordered t-shirts, throw in a hat. And if they ordered hoodies, maybe throw in a tote bag with their logo. I've seen this work over and over again. A customer who swore, well, we don't need hats, suddenly comes back a week later saying, hey, could we get 24 of these hats? They're pretty cool. Now, I've personally had this work with a simple can cooler, a koozie, right? I included a few in a large shirt order I was doing for a local band that I was printing for back in the day. They opened the box and said, we had no idea you could print koozies too. Can we have 50 of them? Right there, on the spot, an order for 50 custom koozies. Your customers don't know what you're capable of until you tell them or you show them. Now, samples you shouldn't look at as a cost. They really are a marketing investment into your next order. And when successful, they should pay for themselves. Now, with some of those out of the way, right off the top, let's talk about some outbound sales, because you can't just sit back and wait for people to find you. Now, making sure your website is updated with all SEO best practices, the search engine optimization, is a great start to people finding you. But let's be proactive here. So I know what you're thinking. I'm not a salesperson. Neither am I, right? I don't like sales, I don't like being pushy, and I don't like the feeling it gets when I'm trying to pressure somebody into a sale. That's not me. And if it's you, right? No worries. But outbound sales don't have to be sleazy, and you don't have to feel like a car salesman, and it doesn't have to eat up all of your time. First, the number one tip is get a CRM, a customer relationship manager. It doesn't need to be fancy. Free tools like HubSpot or Trello work great. The goal is just to have one place where you could track who you've talked to, when you should follow up, and what you talked about. It keeps you from forgetting opportunities or letting leads go cold or sitting there at 3 p.m. on a Saturday going, oh, I never answered that email, right? But second, consider getting a little bit of help. You'll find that it's going to pay for itself. Something like a virtual assistant can handle outreach, literally just write emails all day for you, schedule follow-ups, or even prep simple mock-ups. If you've got a local college nearby, finding interns from the college is another great option. I do recommend you pay them, right? But they could go knock on doors of local businesses, drop off those sample kits, or do simple marketing tasks, right? But if you have the time and you want to start building that trust, go do this yourself. Especially just starting out, you would be so surprised how impactful this is. And third, now we want to keep our outbound system simple. And here's an example cadence that you could try. So let's say on day one, you're gonna send a short email with a helpful idea, right? Maybe introducing yourself, solving a problem that maybe other customers in this same genre or market, like if you're targeting landscaping companies, you've already worked with a landscaping company, you probably know something that's helped them that could help somebody else. So you drop that little snippet of helpfulness. Now, maybe day 3 or day 4, you drop a DM or a LinkedIn message if you've connected with them, right? And maybe you send them a quick mock-up or ask a question to spur some engagement. Now, day 5 maybe is when you pick up the phone and call, ask for the contact, and ask if you could come drop off a sample kit. And then maybe day 7, day 8, day 9, you follow up with a one-sheet of your services if you didn't drop one off in that sample kit. Now that's it. That was 4 touch points in just over a week. Enough to get noticed, but not too much so you start to feel real pushy. And if it starts to feel pushy, move it maybe to just 2 contacts a week. Now, outbound is all about just starting conversations. And when you show up with value, like a sample, a mock-up, a flyer, a solution to a problem, you're going to stand out from the decorators who only send a price sheet. Now, there's a reason that cold calling and door-to-door are still widely used as a sales strategy. It's because they work. And it's just a numbers game of conversions. Not everybody is going to buy, but a good percentage of them are. And a simple phone call once isn't going to do any benefits to you. You do need those multiple touch points. It does take 8 to 12 meaningful interactions at minimum for someone to make a purchasing decision in business-to-business sales and marketing, of course. So these touches always can include maybe a website visit, somebody finds you on Google, social media interactions, email opens, clicks, receiving a sample kit or a catalog in the mail, a phone call or a DM, maybe seeing one of your case studies, a review on Google, or something like that social proof where somebody's talking about you. Or maybe that in-person visit. It's at a trade show, maybe a local drop-off, maybe seeing you at a Chamber of Commerce meeting or a booth at a local festival or community event. You see, the possibilities really here are endless. So keeping that in mind, combined with a CRM, is how you're gonna start to track all of this data and learn what works best for you and your customers. No business school, MBA, or anything like that needed. Now let's hit one of the most overlooked strategies here too, is reactivating old customers. Now, if someone bought from you before, that's gold. They already trust you and likely they had a great experience, or at least fingers crossed, they did have a great experience. And you don't have to sell them on you, your business, your services. You just need to give them a reason to come back. Now, it's much less expensive and less time consuming to keep your current customers purchasing from you than having to go out and find new customers all the time. In the apparel decorating industry, on average, it costs about $240 of advertising spend or marketing spend to go capture a new customer. And that's kind of high, right? Maybe not sustainable for a business just starting up. But here's the one thing. Don't just email your existing customers a coupon code or beg for another order. Instead, help them have success and help them sell more. Now here's a real example, right, that I heard at an event just a couple months ago here in the apparel decorating industry. A decorator working with a brewery noticed that the merch they were printing for them was really just tucked away in a dark corner behind a bar in the brewery. It barely sold, so the decorator came in and brainstormed a sample display with the brewery. Some shelves, those industrial pipes that you could get real cheap at Home Depot, some good lighting, and folded tees with clear signage and pricing. Suddenly the merch was front and center, and guess what? Sales exploded and shirts were flying off the shelves. The brewery sold more gear and of course came back to the decorator for reorders year after year after year. You've built this solution, this relationship, and you've helped them grow. Even if you raised your prices, why would they go anywhere else when you fueled their success? But that's the mindset. How can you help your customers win? Because when they win, you win. And maybe it's creating some flyers, right? With mock-ups they could hand out at their store. Maybe it's designing social media graphics that they could post to drive traffic to their online shop. These things really don't take long, but they make a huge impact and really help you stand out amongst any competitors. So instead of just selling shirts, you are now selling solutions. And that makes you way more valuable than any decorator down the street with a DTF printer who only talks on price. And odds are, if they're only talking on price, they're probably not going to be there a year or two from now. Now, before we wrap up, here's a few quick bonus plays that you could run or at least have tucked away in the playbook. Always suggest an add-on with every order. If they buy tees, suggest some hats. If they buy hoodies, suggest bags. And remember to include that surprise sample in every single box. Now, you could also use freebies like stickers or koozies as traffic drivers at events. People grab the freebie and then they check out the higher margin items. I will say, I used this one when I was in a band and we were selling band merch all the time. Hey, come grab some free stickers or a free poster at the merch booth. And we saw week after week and gig after gig, every single time we did this, our sales exploded that night, where we went from selling nothing and maybe talking to one or two people at a merch booth to literally standing there for an hour after the show every single night, selling merch and making money, right? So it's more important than you think. It's these little things. But also, you could focus on retention. Now, it's way cheaper to keep and grow an existing customer than it is to find a new one. So make it a habit to check in on your customers, bring them new ideas regularly, and just stay engaged. And overall, just give them a great experience with working with you. All right, so before we wrap up, let's recap. Number one, make your inbound process simple. Those 2 forms targeted to your customers really help convert. Number 2, use samples and those sample kits to open doors for you. If you haven't tried this, you're going to be shocked at absolutely how effective it is. Number 3, build a simple outbound system with a CRM, virtual assistants, or interns. Or if you're just getting started and can't afford the expense of any of that and have the time, do it yourself. And lastly, reactivate those past customers by helping them find ways to sell more. If you do just one of these things this week, you're going to start seeing results very, very soon. Now remember, sales don't just happen. You have to create them. And when you approach sales as helping your customers succeed, not just pushing product, everybody here is going to win. So here's your challenge, right? Here's your challenge. Pick one of these plays, run it this week, and watch what happens. You'll also need to report back and tell me about it in the comments section below. But if you've got sales strategies that work for you, drop them down in the comments below too. I'd love to hear them, share them with the community, and keep the conversation going long after this video is over. But be sure you hit that subscribe button too to stay up to date on all of the helpful tips, tricks, inspiration, and education that we're dropping every single week right here on Stahls TV. But until next time, I'm Dave. Happy pressing and happy selling. Go out and get it.